Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice, known as UCOB. My name is Steve Simon, and I'm your worship associate for this morning's service. At UCOB, we strive to surround this community with a spirit of love in everything we do. As a welcoming congregation, we hope that all visitors, wherever they are on life's journey and whatever their backgrounds, will find a lasting home here. Today's order of service includes announcements of upcoming activities, and we look forward to all of our visitors, friends, and members joining in, so we are pleased that you have chosen to celebrate and worship with us today. If anyone is here for the first time and feels comfortable doing so, please stand up and someone will bring you a microphone so you can introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Well, I'm the first time, my whole family here. I'm Dan, my wife Mandy, my daughter Aurora, and we are so happy to meet you all here, and wish we will have a good friendship in the future. Thank you. We are immigrants from China just last year, so we are totally new in the United States. But we like to stay here. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Good morning. 3 weeks ago, we lived in Rotunda, which is in Englewood, Massachusetts, and first time in a Unitarian church, and we're looking forward to the experience. I understand it's very welcoming and very loving and caring, and thank you for welcoming us. My name's Cindy, if I didn't say that.
And I'm Fred Carley, I'm her husband. And to say we've always wanted to come here. We've been talked about it for 3 or 4 years. Because we met some people that were involved, one of our organizations, and they said you should come and visit. But we lived in Rotunda, so it's a pretty long way. But we've heard really good things about you guys, and thank you for welcoming us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. If anyone is leaving this week for the north, please let us know so we can say goodbye to you now. Okay. Okay.
I'm saying goodbye, and I'll be here tomorrow night for the Meatless Monday, but I'll see you all next winter.
Okay. Anyone else want to say something? I saw more hands, but it's okay. All right. I have one announcement to make here. Meatless Monday, tomorrow's Meatless Monday at 5 p.m. in Waters Hall. It will be the last Meatless Monday of the season, and they will resume in October. Okay.
I just have one quick one. Your social justice team has been talking about ways to explore grassroots activism and to do more. And one of the ways we are talking about doing that is by trying to get 100% of our congregation to vote. What do you think? And so we are going to try to get everybody to vote. We're willing to help. We're willing to help get you there. We want to vote. Not next week, but the week after, Social Justice will be meeting after church. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about, because we're thinking about putting out a challenge to the other UU churches that we can get a higher percentage than they can. So if you're interested in helping and carrying on this conversation, please, not next week, but the week after, stay after, meet with Social Justice, get on board with this. We're starting at the grassroots.
Great. We are now entering into a sacred space. One of the characteristics that as a sacred space is, these are turned off. So I'm doing that right now myself. So please silence all electronics you may have with you today. Light it first and then say? Okay. We light our chalice this morning with these words from Pat Yorbe Lichty. We come from many places along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities. And yet we come together as one people with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other. To bring wholeness to a fractured world, we come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place, we may find others who are much like us, and others who are much different. May our lit chalice remind us that we are a people taught by different stories with many voices, but always one people working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace. Lisa?
Good morning. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie-Shaw, and I am so glad you're all here today. And I want to be honest up front, this is not the service I intended to do today. I had a lovely May Day service written, slightly salacious, full of interesting things about the maypole. And then I've watched over this past week and a half as the Gaza Support Camps sprang up on college campuses and the war continued. And in conversation with colleagues and friends, I realized we have to talk about this. I can't wait. So I'll sneak my salacious service in at some time in the fall, and we'll call it good. But we're going to talk about this today as friends and people on the same journey, because I can't ignore it. You're going to get a little bit of condensed history, an idea of why we all can't just get along. And maybe, just maybe, we'll talk about why UUs have so many different positions on this issue, other than our own love of debate. So come and let us worship here together. Now, our gathering hymn this morning is going to be Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and we are going to be brave. We are going to try it as a round. I normally don't have the guts, but today I'm feeling inspired, so we're going to try it. We're going to sing it once all together. The second time, this side of the room's going to lead, and this side's going to join in. You know how this goes. So hit it, Lisa. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing. Number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, all together the first time. This side. Come, come, whoever you are. This side start. Hey, we did it. Our offering words today are done with a spirit of levity, as always, because giving should never hurt. A Unitarian minister named Arnie and his buddy Peter were relaxing and having a few beers on a Saturday night. And after a few more beers and then a few more, Arnie said, "I'm bored, let's go ice fishing." "Great idea," said Peter, and they head out and find a nice spot and cut a hole in the ice and stick in their poles, and suddenly a loud voice from above says, "There are no fish here." Arnie and Peter look around and look at each other and look up, and they don't see anyone. "I suppose we better move then," said Peter. They get up and found another spot on the ice and cut another hole and stick their poles out with great hopes of fresh walleye. And once again the voice boomed from above, "There are no fish here." And they looked around and looked at each other and looked up again, and again they didn't see anyone. "We better find another spot," says Arnie. And so they gathered everything up and went to a third spot, cut a hole and stuck out their poles. And once again a voice boomed from the sky, "There are no fish here." They clutched each other nervously and looked up, and Arnie, a lifelong atheist, called out, "God, is that you?" And the voice said, "No, this is the skating rink." There are no fish here. As with most things in life, the trick is to look in the right place, and since this is the offering, I might suggest that the right place is your wallets. The morning offering will now be given and very gratefully received. Thank you all so much, not just for these gifts, but for absolutely everything you do for the life and the work of this congregation. Because the church isn't about the building, it's about the community. And it's as a community of human hands and human hearts that we come together here to share our laughter and our tears and to bear witness and to minister to one another as we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joy. And we're entering into a time of sharing our joys and concerns, and you can raise a hand. Someone will bring you a microphone. Please share information only with permission. At any other point in the service or before the service, you're welcome to come up and light a candle on the candle table, but at this time, I will light for each joy and concern. So if you have something you want to share, please raise your hand.
Jim Willott here. Lisa and I are celebrating our anniversary this, what is it? Tuesday. I knew that. 13 years ago, right here, we got married. So we're very happy. It's been very great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Griffin, and I'm going to do a little parental bragging this morning. Some of you know that one of our daughters, Katie, lives in Argentina. Now, Katie's an ordained minister, and she holds a doctorate in church history and theology, excuse me, and is a professor at a seminary in Buenos Aires. Well, in November, the World Council of Churches is holding a special conference in Geneva, Switzerland, celebrating the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea that was convened by Constantine in 325 and produced the Nicene Creed, which is kind of the beginning of Christianity. Well, Katie, being a good Christian, but really I think she's a UU Christian, sent in an abstract for a paper questioning Constantine's motives for convening the council in the first place. She thought, well, maybe they'd accept the paper and she could present it over Zoom or something. She got a response inviting her to be one of 6 keynote speakers at the conference, all expense paid week in Switzerland, the first week in November. So we're pretty proud of that.
Hi, John Van Camp. Two announcements. One is I'm pleased to announce that the Suncoast Metropolitan Community Church, which is right down the road here on Venice, is holding, annually they hold a benefit concert, and they're going to do one on June 1st at 7 o'clock, and the benefits go to the Social Justice Alliance, which we help set up here. So I'm really happy for that. We'll have a flyer next week for more information. And number two, the announcement here on Friday about the social justice meeting, that's the Alliance. You're welcome to come, but it's not our local one. I'll get a correction out in the calendar.
Since I'm going to be leaving for the North all summer on May 22nd, I have to do a little work now instead of waiting for our efforts on voting. So 14 people helped distribute literature yesterday to voters in my precinct, and I'm so thankful that among them were Brad Harden of our church, Sal Salorenzo, and Donna Jewett from our church, and Charlene Pratt. So we have UUs helping us, and I really appreciate that. And by the way, I need to do more this week if I can. So if anyone is interested in stuffing literature bags, we'll probably do that Tuesday afternoon, or possibly distributing them on Wednesday morning. So please let me know if you're interested, and I appreciate everybody's help. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Marty Wilmer, and this coming Saturday, my husband and I will celebrate 51 years of married bliss, and we were married in the first parish in Sudbury, Massachusetts, which is a UU congregation.
I'm Brett Harden. I just want to say that all of us here that know Kendra knows that she deserves every help that we can give her.
I just wanted to let you all know that Marcia and I celebrated both our marriage ceremony and our commitment ceremony this past week. So it's 34 years for our commitment ceremony and 14 years for our marriage.
I want to thank Eddie Keffel for donating the lovely TV and stand that's out on the lanai that shows the screen that goes. And I guess coincidentally, we wanted one and then it appeared. So thank you, Eddie. It was a miracle.
The UU miracle.
Hi, I'm Lorraine, and I had reported a while ago that my mother has tongue cancer, and she had surgery. She had to give up on the radiation after 21 of the 30 treatments she was supposed to get because she's just too sick, and she had taken a lot of breaks going to the hospital in between. So we hope that the cancer doesn't come back, and just keep her in your thoughts. Thank you.
Had a couple more joys. It was such a joy yesterday, and I want to thank deeply the guys who came over to help move Nancy's plants to the new parsonage. It took 3 truckloads. Thank you, thank you, thank you to Steve Leapley and Bill Reynolds and Steve Simon and Jack Head, who bravely dealt with the plants and all my artwork. Another joy, Nancy is home from the hospital. She's had her surgery and she's walking around. So I am delighted. And a third and final joy, my dad is still home from the hospital and hasn't broken anything all week. May the love of this community hold all who need our love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we're needed. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
So hi, as my dad said, we just came from China a year ago. My name is Aurora, and I came from Pineview. I'm a Pineview 6th grader. And yeah, so today I'm gonna be playing, first of all, Bach, Symphonia number 12, and then Arabex number 1 by Debussy.
Our first reading this morning is entitled, "We Are Importing the Worst of Israel and Palestine to Our Campuses," by Lehi Ben Shatrit. Since the atrocious October 7th attack by Hamas and the catastrophic response by the Israeli government in Gaza, too many students, faculty, and community members at U.S. universities have been mimicking the worst kinds of discourses coming out of Israel and Palestine. I have seen those who consider themselves to be on the progressive left and who care about Palestinians parroting ultra-nationalist slogans like "from the river to the sea," excusing violence that amounts to war crimes with the slogan "by any means necessary," and using the word Zionist as an expletive. Many of those who care about Israelis proclaim they are, quote, "standing with Israel," unquote, without criticizing the Israeli government's ultranationalist policies of occupation and Jewish supremacy, which are the law of the land in Israel-Palestine. Which are the law in Israel-Palestine from the river to the sea. Others have used the label anti-Semitic to describe anything from actual anti-Semitism to mere calls for a ceasefire or denouncements of Israeli violence in Gaza and on the West Bank. Everyone protesting on campuses on every side of the argument needs to stop shouting for 1 second and acknowledge the fact that we are not in Israel and Palestine, but on privileged university campuses in the richest country in the world. What has shocked me most about the current campus climate is the extent to which the intolerant approaches and arguments of Israeli and Palestinian right have not only gone unquestioned by many supporters of Israel and supporters of Palestine, respectively, but to some extent have been adopted. For example, on the pro-Israeli side, calling out the de facto apartheid that exists on the West Bank, or the suffocating siege on Gaza that has been ongoing for nearly 2 decades, or even noting that this siege was the context in which October 7th happened. That this is denounced as an anti-Semitic libel. This is a well-used tactic by the Israeli right to silence and criticize its policies. On the pro-Palestine side, the approach to Israelis as usurpers whose illegitimate national identity must be erased have become all too common. I have sat with students who have told me that Israelis should not be considered human because they are settlers. I also spoke with students who told me they were collecting donations for the Israeli Defense Forces at a time when its war effort has led to the killing of thousands of children in the Gaza Strip. Meditation. This faith. What? Did I skip something? Oh, I'm sorry. Please. This Faith by Heidi Cottam. Let us be a faith that gathers reaching for one another through the walls of hate others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets. Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love. There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings longer and louder than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too. Let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary that others seek. But first, let us be a faith that worships together. Here, this morning, in this space, at this moment, let us be a faith. Please join for 1 minute of silent meditation, thought, or prayer. From an open letter to Columbia University Gaza war protesters from a pro-Palestinian activist in Israel, Haviva Nur David. I am a very active member of Standing Together, a movement of Palestinian Israelis and Jewish Israelis working in complete partnership towards an end to the occupation, Palestinian self-determination, and a more equal, just, and peaceful society within Israel. I'm involved in a variety of groups and organizations committed to a vision of peace, justice, and equality for all people on the land from the river to the sea. I remain active in these groups even after Hamas's brutal attack on October 7th. I am even out on the streets now calling for a mutual ceasefire and a return of all the hostages, many of whom seemed to have tragically be no longer alive, as well as for the resignation of the government officials and early elections. And so if I were studying at Columbia today, I would ask myself, should I join your protests? After all, I too am pro-Palestinian, but I'm also pro-Jew. And when you chant, there's only one solution, intifada, revolution, and from the river to the sea, Palestine will live forever, you are not calling, as I and my Palestinian Israeli friends are, for peace, justice, and equality for all humans within these borders. You are calling for the violent destruction of the country where we live and the murder of its citizens, including the Palestinian ones. As we saw on October 7th, Hamas has no more sympathy for non-Jewish Israelis, not even for Muslim ones, than it does for the Jewish Israelis as well. When you say, I am Hamas, you are not identifying with innocent civilians, including children, women, and seniors who are massacred and kidnapped, or the women raped in captivity, according to the eyewitness accounts from the hostages who have been freed. Even my Palestinian Israeli activist friends strongly condemned Hamas's attack on October 7th and say, Hamas is terrible for the Palestinian people. And when you call out, say it loud and say it clear, we don't want no Zionists here, you are fomenting violence against the silencing other Columbia students. You may disagree with them, but that doesn't mean they have no right to inhabit your shared campus or even live. Do you think I, an activist in the struggle for peace and equality for all Israel Palestine, have a right to live?
Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join me in singing number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
Thank you.
to figure out what I was going to say today, and I'm still not sure I'm going to get it right, so bear with me. This subject is a tough one. About a month and a half ago, I was at a meeting of Jewish clergy who are Unitarian Universalist. The meeting was with our president, Sophia Bettencourt. The meeting was called because the anti-Semitism had reached the point where many of these clergy feared for their place in Unitarian Universalism. Many of them wept throughout the entire meeting. They had been subjected to comments from other clergy and from other Unitarian Universalists. From the river to the sea, free Palestine. And when they replied to those folks, you know that means wiping Israel off the map, right? There was no real response. As Unitarian Universalists, we like causes, and we love working for peace and justice. But this is a complicated issue. And I realize that it's hard to get involved with the issue when folks on the news don't make a lot of effort to get the facts out, even the basic ones sometimes, so that you can have your own opinions. So let's talk about something simple first, because I do not like geography. How many of you feel very comfortable knowing where Israel is and how it's shaped and how it interlocks with Palestine? Some of you feel real comfortable with that. Good. How many of you are lying? Quick crash course for the rest of you. Israel is shaped vaguely like this. Vaguely. It is about 290 miles from top to bottom and about 85 miles wide. It sits between Egypt, kind of on the bottom here, Syria and Jordan on this side, and between the Mediterranean Sea and the River Jordan. Within what we would call Israel, there are 3 other spaces. The Gaza Strip is on the west side, bordering on the sea. It is held by Hamas. On the east side, you have, funnily enough, the West Bank. It's the west bank of the River Jordan. That is held by the Palestinian Authority, the more liberal, if you will, Palestinian. And then you have the Golan Heights up here, jointly held by Syria and Israel. There are also Arab settlers there. This area has had people in it for over 1 million years. Proto-humans lived there before we were humans. Some of the cities are some of the longest inhabited cities on Earth. People have been there. Now I want you to think for a minute about Washington, D.C., okay? Hold that in your head. Washington, D.C., it's not a state, even though we're hoping it gets there eventually. It's where a bunch of states come together. It's where our politics happen. You could say it's our holy land, if you will. It's where the important stuff of our government happens. Now think about Israel. For thousands upon thousands of years, it was the equivalent to Washington, D.C. in that sense. It was the Holy Land. It was the crossroads where trade routes went down to Africa. Nobody was worried about owning it because everybody used it. And as Islam and Christianity rose out of Judaism, You had 3 major religions, all tucked in there, all using the same spaces. You know, Hamas won Gaza in 2006. It won a democratic election. We've designated them a terrorist organization. And on October 7th, they staged the attack. They killed about 1,200 people, more than 300 soldiers. Since then, Israel's retaliated and continues to retaliate, with 33,000 people in Gaza dead and another 75,000 injured. Disproportionate response. And for a lot of you, the question is, how do we feel about this? Do we support Zionism? Are we anti-Zionist? Does that make us anti-Semitic? Israel was created in 1948. Some of you may remember that. How many remember the creation of Israel? Anybody in the room? A couple? Okay. Here's the big unhappy question. Why did it get created? Was it because we deeply wanted the Jews to have a homeland? Not so much. Coming out of World War II, Jews were trying to escape the Holocaust in Europe. What do you think America did when those boats got to our shores? We turned them away. Other countries did the same. The Holy Land of Palestine, since way back, had been controlled by a variety of colonizing organizations who just didn't really worry too much about it. Rome was one of the first, who just had ownership of the whole area. Rome was slowly taken out of the equation by the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire held that area until World War I. And then England reached out, as it did with many properties, and took it for itself. So at World War II's ending point, when something had to be done about all those inconvenient Jewish people, England and Germany and the United States helped to decide that the Jews needed a homeland, and Israel was created. For many Jews, it was life-saving. For Jews who were already there, it was life-affirming. For everybody else, it was like you had carved out a chunk of Washington, D.C. and said, well, this is going to be Mormon now. But we did it. Israel was created, and people went there. They moved there for safety. The first Israeli-Arab war happened less than a year later. In 1968, the 6 Days War happened. The Israelis didn't ask to be put in this position. They asked to be allowed to live. The European countries and America helped to create a space for them to do it in. Was it right? I don't know. My own relatives do not believe in being Zionists. They are ultra-conservative Jews who believe that the only real Israel is the one God will raise. There are plenty of Jews who are not Zionist. There are other folks who are strongly Zionist, who believe the nation of Israel has the right to exist and should exist, and that's okay too. But what do we do now? We can't take it back. The country of Israel exists. But so do the Palestinian people who are currently being subjected to a genocide by the political leaders of Israel. And so what you must parse out as a Unitarian Universalist is, how do I speak out against genocide, against the killing of innocent men and women and children and others? How do I say no to that, while still respecting the right of a whole group of people to be alive in the country that has existed since 1948 and there's no taking back? How do I hold those things in tension? Because it's easy to get caught up. It's easy to simply join a pro-Palestinian protest from the river to the sea and not hear the pain that you are causing your fellow Unitarians who might be of Jewish origin. And it's just as easy to say, I'm a Zionist, and you can't argue with that. Any argument is anti-Semitism. And not to hear the pain of those with Palestinian friends and relatives. We have to walk a path of intelligence and thought, love and kindness in any way that seems right to you. We cannot knee-jerk on this one. What does justice for everyone look like, and how will you work at every level to help find peace for our world? What questions about your own approaches will you ask yourself? Because we're called not to back away from the suffering. We're called not to back away from the calls for destruction. We're called to be a part of the solution. Our song says, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." What does that mean for you? They aren't just words. Between the river and the sea, all people should be free. And children of both nations should be able to play in the sun together. Mothers should exchange recipes, and fathers play soccer together with their daughters and their sons. Jewish lawyers should take Palestinian cases, and Palestinian doctors see Jewish patients. The kids from the kibbutz should be able to visit the mosque with their friends in peace, and it should work the other way around too. And if we really believe that we are part of the web of life, part of one world, then it's up to us to help find the peacemakers smart enough and wise enough, kind enough to parse through this horrible situation. It's our job to become the peacemakers in any way we can. Help to heal the world. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Peace be with you. Amen. We extinguish this chalice, but we pledge to carry its light forward as we work to bring peace in a wounded world. Now, our last hymn today is not one we do often. We are going to be brave yet again, and I have faith in you. Some of you may know the Pete Seeger. Does anybody know the Pete Seeger version of this one? Gonna lay down my sword and shield? Oh, Lord, y'all. I feel the pain coming. All right, I'm going to have Lisa play the melody line through for you once. Lisa, if you'd give us the melody line. Sound vaguely familiar? All right, we are bravely going to try this. We're going to cheese it up. We're going to have fun with this one. All right, Lisa, hit it. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. Study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my burden down by the riverside. Study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Gonna shake hands around the world. Everywhere I roam. Everywhere I roam. Everywhere I roam. Gonna shake hands around the world. Everywhere I roam. Ain't war no more. Big finish. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. 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 Study war no more. Give yourself a round of applause. Go in love, committing to be first and foremost a people of kindness. Go in peace, to commit to healing the world. Peace. Ashe. And may it be so. Amen. We did it.